We'll call a meeting to order at eight.
Yeah.
8 o'clock.
21 o'clock.
Roll call, Mayor Matt.
Here.
Nikki. Here. Amy.
Here.
Cora is absent. Rocky. Rachel.
Here.
Sarah.
Here.
Gail is absent. And Jacqueline.
Here.
We have a quorum. Approval of 2 sets of minutes, the special meeting and then October's. Did anyone read it?
Yeah,
I'd like to make
I'll make that motion.
anyone opposed? I'm sorry, was that for both?
Yeah, for both. Yep.
Thank you. What are rules of public comment one more time?
Yeah,
Maybe at every meeting. Thank you.
that's fair. Public comment rule, 3 minutes. We are gonna time you. If anyone at this time would like to make public comment on something not on the agenda, they may.
I just wanted to let everybody know that the chamber has ladies' night this Saturday night, so looks to be a really, really fun evening. We have 33 participating shops and restaurants, so. Great job.
Heard the spot this morning on like.
Good. Yeah, Diane will be there and she and I are gonna tag team the announcing at the pier. Sure, that'll be entertaining, to say the least.
On December 15th, there is the second fundraiser for the eastern part of the boardwalk at the pier. I don't have that much details, but I can send them to anybody that's, you can actually buy tickets online through Ticket Leap. It is $100 for a strolling supper, and I don't know the actual split of the proceeds.
It's 50-50.
50,
Oh, okay, good.
Kristen has
Yeah.
quite a bit out on Facebook about it too.
Yeah.
Anything
And we
else you want
shared
to
it
do about
too.
that?
Yeah, yes, I actually
We
saw it.
will continue to put it out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, last year we did New York. It was a really good time. This year we're changing it up a little bit, doing it more strolling, heavy hors d'oeuvre style again. And then there'll be a DJ. It was a lot of fun last year. It's kind of like a community get together, so.
Me too.
Right.
What is the 15th on?
Huh?
What,
It's a Friday.
it's a Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's a Friday. It's from 6 to 10 p.m.
Okay. Anything else for public comment? Public? No.
The tree's coming today.
Yeah. Yes,
It is?
yes.
Are you gonna get, will you get a picture?
Yeah, and as I see it come down the street, I'll do live stream. I'll do
Of course you
something
will.
silly.
You'll dance a jig and. Who was the tree donated by?
I don't wanna misquote myself, so I'll just refrain.
We'll find out. We're pleading the fifth.
Understood.
Kind donor.
Why is Main Street closed or all the parking blocked up?
Pull the tree through town.
Is
And
that big?
Is it as big as the one, tallest one last year? Wasn't the one last year like one of the biggest?
Last year was.
Bigger?
we're gonna feather it.
We have that.
That's a big win.
It's a valid question.
Oh,
Well-
I'm sure they've,
Yeah.
well, they did such a great job with that anyway last year, regardless.
Got up quick.
Yeah.
Back up in 3 minutes. Okay, down to downtown enhancement. The CDD snow removal. Rachel, maybe you live a
Yeah,
little
so
background
let
on that one,
me
please.
go down. I put it in the packet.
Yep.
And I have some more to add to that since this morning Lucas and I have done some digging on the actual ordinance.
Okay.
So the background is the city's Department of Public Works have historically removed snow in the central business district to create a 5-foot path along sidewalks. Snow in front of storefront is the business owner's responsibility to remove. The city has been supplying this service. However, per city code is neither the city nor the general fund's responsibility. Now with that, I'm gonna add on that Lucas and I actually found it this morning, the city code. It doesn't specify who's, it does, but it's the business owners. Is that correct?
Correct.
So it's nor the general fund, nor the DDA's financial responsibility for snow removal. So,
Okay, moving on.
yeah. So the ordinance, with that, so the ordinance states, and I can pull it up, I saved it, hold on. In the city central business district, when ice is formed or snow is permitted to accumulate on any sidewalk, the owner and occupant of the abutting premises shall within 12 hours, so I misspoke again, it's not
Ooh.
24, it's 12 hours. After the 12 hours after the same has formed or accumulated, cause the same to be removed or cause sufficient salt, sawdust, sand, or other abrasive to be sown. So basically, it's the business owner's responsibility. Now with that, moving down to, I'm gonna highlight it so you guys can see it better, sorry. 12 hours, that's where it says that, owner, occupant, okay? If not removed within said 12-hour period, the city may, without notice, proceed to remove said ice and or packed snow and bill the cost thereof to the owner of said premises.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So really, what we're saying today is, if we make no decision to contract with someone or pay the general fund, we put it back to council saying, this is a safety concern. DPW has been doing it for this many years, and really what council will decide is whether if it snows, let's say like an inch an hour, and they want DPW to go somewhere else to plow sidewalks, what they will do for funding to then do downtown, whether it'll be bill the businesses as the ordinance states, or they say, you know, DPW will continue to do it as normal.
Okay, I have a question. And maybe Matt can help me remember the council meetings that we've talked about this, because I remember when Tom was city manager. We were actually, the city was ticketing businesses if they had to remove ice and stuff, because I remember, because I actually got a ticket. So I thought we were already putting this in place. So the issue that we're talking about right now is the little snowplow guy that goes
John,
around?
yeah.
John,
Yeah.
okay. So from what I'm understanding is that the city wants to stop that.
Not necessarily. So city council asked city staff to evaluate clearing other sidewalks within the city, like further out that we usually wouldn't put John on. They usually are not plowed. So with doing that, if we're adding sidewalks for John to do, it's gonna take him away from downtown.
I
So it's
thought
kind of-
city council already approached this topic a while ago, last
They did.
winter, and I thought John Leo if I'm remembering this council meeting correctly, he had said, if we start going out further into private residences, where
Does it stop?
where do we end that at? And then keeping that, we thought the most important part was for the downtown areas to be done.
Mhm.
Okay,
And I don't think, and you
Just
can
confused.
correct us, council never made a voting decision. They're just investigating at this point, correct?
I believe at the
Yes.
meeting, that's kind of when they, asked the DDA to look into options.
Correct. And
For if the DPW does have to do the extraneous areas and not have time to focus on downtown, how it would still get done.
And I talked to Nick yesterday and he said there was some complaining, you know, up on the bluff, pine and elm and stuff that they weren't being attended to. What's our responsibility
so,
up there, Matt? Any idea?
Well, Pine Street doesn't have sidewalks, so there's no responsibility there.
Yeah, and
Or
per
parts of
the
Pine Street.
code or zoning, the city does not have to plow any sidewalks.
yeah,
It's a service we provide.
yes.
so I did get a couple informal quotes speaking to a few businesses. There were only a couple that were willing to even take the contracts. It's a fairly large commitment. Keller's was one. And he ballparked it around 30,000 a year. Ballpark for the city, if we went around to paying the general fund, which at this point doesn't make a lot of sense to make that decision today, would be my recommendation, would be 24,000. Again, those are estimates. You know, it's based off, you know, how often they have to come, how many inches we want them to come out for, things like that, so.
And tell me about, when I asked you yesterday about how far you have to go out of your storefront.
it's not defined as to the area that would be cleared. Essentially, it would kind of just follow a sidewalk standard, so. You can, like, our sidewalk machine is 51 inches wide. So on Main Street where there's 11 feet of sidewalk, it doesn't need to be 11 feet wide. It needs to be passable for pedestrians. And if someone, per se, an ADA for a wheelchair, so 5 feet wide is enough. It doesn't have to be the entire area.
I mean, I think, I mean, we love the John who comes by, especially in front of the salon, but we always go through and make the whole pass, and then we keep two separate paths from the street to our sidewalks, which is it's my responsibility, quite honestly, but I guess from my standpoint, I'm always looking at it from a safety standpoint, and to me, I think if we're looking at snow removal in a safety standpoint, the biggest safety part of it is our downtown area. So if the city was gonna focus on something, I would say that we've all been super concerned about safety. That's why we removed the flower boxes, because they were a tripping hazard. We're repairing sidewalks because it's a tripping hazard. That's why we had to block off the Merchants Walkway, because it's a hazard and the city doesn't want to get sued. So for me, I mean, if it's an ice and snow issue, it's down in the business district where people are walking every day, that is the biggest safety concern. And the businesses, if they don't do what they're supposed to do to keep those sidewalks, the businesses that aren't open, then they need to be fined for the city having to go out and fix that, or neighbors or whatever.
I only remember finding a few people and Tom talking about that. And he just said we've kind of broached a new level and we
Well,
find a couple of, you were one of them.
No, which him and I talked about in my issue, and I think we finally got that fixed because we had my landlord like fix the valley that we had dipped down in the sidewalk. But aside from that, we've had continuing issues in the city, in the downtown area, with owners that aren't there. And we've had a bunch of ice issues, and we have businesses that go and clean up their neighbor's sidewalks. So I don't think that the fining or ticketing or whatever it is has been utilized the way that it should be to make people accountable for taking care of their own property.
And I was actually under the impression that it was the owner, I'm sorry, the occupant.
The owner
i.e.
occupant.
Well, but owner and occupant,
Yeah.
which can be two different people.
Yeah, well,
So
in my
that's
case, it is.
Right. Matt?
Yeah. I mean, I've got the same problem. I shovel our sidewalks. I've got had 3 absent people in the wintertime that never shovel. And as far as I know, they never got ticketed. I mean,
I don't think the billing has been consistent.
right, it never has.
Yeah, it hasn't been
Enforcements are,
consistent, so if council decides they want to, proceed with moving, so plowing out a little further on the sidewalks, that's their decision to make billing more consistent to those businesses downtown, but that's a council decision.
So Lucas, you're in the thick of it, always. What would be your recommendation? You don't want to say. You'd like to refrain.
I would like to refrain. No, I think that we already clear over 11 miles of sidewalks, within the entire city limits. I think we do a pretty darn good job at it as well.
Yeah,
For what we
absolutely.
can.
Especially for the kids.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole
that's-
part of it.
We do prioritize doing the up by Lake Street. I mean, that gets a lot of attention with the schools, the crosswalks, things like that. And in different, over the course of the last 10, 15 years, there's been requests for different areas to have sidewalks done, and we've kept adding and adding and adding. I think we've added probably a total, if you add it all up, an extra 3 miles in the last 10 to 15 years. Whether it be doing both sides of a certain road, or instead of just doing one one side of the road, which, you know, that was brought up at council, just do one side of Lake Street, but then you can't do that, because then the kids gotta walk across the street to get to a cleared sidewalk, so there's not a good there, and I think the more we add, on a normal day, say we get a couple inches of snow, we can go out and get them all. It's like that, but when you get wind, you get snow. I've seen John stuck in that machine for 10, 12 hours and it still isn't done.
Yeah.
You know, type of thing. So I think we do an adequate amount, and everybody here knows, and they've seen it before. We can have a completely plowed sidewalk and they're in the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do sidewalks, but I don't think we need to do all of them.
No. Well, but then the other issue is, that I'm understanding, is us possibly contracting, the DDA contracting.
My recommendation now that I've read this is to not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't super in favor of that regardless, just because we don't have the funds or the budget to do that. And again, if we're talking a safety issue,
And according to this ordinance, it's not DDA's responsibility to finance that. Now that I've read it, if you'd asked me 2 days ago, I may have said differently. But reading this,
No.
technically, we just don't, if the DDA doesn't make a decision, it clearly just says council wants to expand sidewalks. It's truly up to them and they should make that move.
I
It's
have
their
a question,
responsibility.
as opposed to funding there, is there a process that the DDA could put in place or implement where the DDA is doing not the enforcement, the city would have to, but you see it's out there, it's not done, report it. So that it can be, so I have some type of a process or policy that goes, says, this hasn't been done, report it, so that zoning here at City Hall can address it. Because that's one of the things, there's time constraints on everybody. We can't send Kyle and his guys down there to do every little thing, and, oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, and it was it 12 hours ago, was it 14 hours ago?
Well,
Is there a way that the DDA can implement something to,
well, we send out a letter too, don't we, at the beginning of
there's
the.
multiple, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least, I think the biggest thing is that we just haven't been consistent. This city DDA, whoever's responsibility is, hasn't been consistent about finding and ticketing the businesses. I mean, you get multiple tickets, you're gonna either take care of it, you're gonna contract it yourself, or you're gonna figure it out. Or at least the city having to go down, you know, their cruise time to take care of it is gonna be at least, because I think the ticket was either 60 or $100,
Yeah,
I think, a time.
it's a decent number.
Yeah.
So the city and the DDA really are one.
Well, yeah, well, right now, but like she said, I don't think we even need to talk too much more about it. 'Cause
The number one issue is safety.
Yeah.
And as I would understand it, safety would be the administration of the city. That being said, we're still the city. We work with the city and we don't want, nobody wants anybody to slip and fall and have accidents. So we want to work together in whatever fashion we can. I say we pass it over to the chamber and the body in charge.
I don't think not making a decision today, saying we want no part of it, it's simply saying it's premature to contract out with a company. Because a lot of these companies are also gonna want to contract for 3 to 6 years, and it's gonna lock us
okay.
in. It's just simply premature, and Victor is aware of that.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to Victor, he didn't, feel either way on what decision was made or where we went with it. It's just that we're all aware there is an issue, and council may bring it up this winter, to be more consistent with billing and things
If
like
there
that.
is a way to report it, that also gathers data, so to speak,
Yeah.
how many times does somebody have to say, hey, it's not clear?
Right.
Because then we could have a better sense by even next spring or late winter of like,
Right.
okay, maybe this is a bigger issue than we really,
Right.
then everybody's kind of.
Yeah, I think this
thinking
is
about.
correct. There are different avenues to take than saying we're gonna spend
Well,
$30,000
and it sounds like
here.
this is more like we need to put it back with the city and let them decide where they want to go with it and then us kind of follow their lead at that point.
Correct.
Okay,
Is that fair?
I think that sounds.
Well, I guess I would disagree with you about we don't have the funding. We do have plenty of money because we don't spend our money on anything else because we never get anything done. So to break off 20 grand to have someone come through and salt or shovel, you know, make sure the sidewalks are safe. I don't think that's a bad idea. We assess, you know, all the business owners. You know, we collect $46,000 a year and we don't do anything with the money for the downtown.
Well, I think we have, but we have two big projects underway right now that we are trying to, that we have motions for to get done. We just,
Right.
I mean, the one project we could have had done if they would have gotten out of committee meetings and we would have been able to have part of it going now. And Third Street lighting, we definitely have.
And if it's a safety concern, we're looking to improve the safety of the sidewalks for our customers or for the people who come visit Harbor Springs or the people who live here. And the downtown, why not spend a little money to maintain the sidewalks? I mean, the city, you know, does it once a day, but it continues to snow through the day, it gets packed down. That's more of an issue, or at least in my eyes. I mean, because sometimes I gotta shovel 3 times a day.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
I mean,
we all do.
absolutely.
So.
Because as, I mean, per city code, it's the business's responsibility to take care of it. I mean,
Technically, for this, everyone should be shoveling 3 times a day.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, per our
A lot
code.
of people don't. So
But Matt,
could we,
I find it a tad bit unfair that because we've been in a bit of a holding pattern. And if you look at where the TIF has gone since we,
there's no TIF. Let's not even talk about the TIF. All right, we get the money we get, but that's it.
I don't understand.
Well, you guys, never mind. I mean,
You're not fond of the DDA is what you're saying.
no, that's not it. I'm not
Okay.
fond of discussing the
So let's table,
county's TIF money.
there's other, okay,
So I
I
guess.
wasn't referring to the county, I was referring to
The other properties.
the other property. Okay, so moving on, so we'll agree to table it and we'll agree to be a help in any way we can. As far as eyeballing or coming to a table for discussions
Or cost sharing even,
or what?
cost sharing. with the
Cost sharing,
city. If
yeah,
we do need to contract
yeah.
out, like, because no one's saying we're gonna do nothing, it's just simply saying it's premature to contract with the city tomorrow. Or, sorry, a business tomorrow to do it.
Right.
Well,
And I would sooner. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe you already have enough to do, Lucas, but I would say I would sooner see us actually have the city do it and pay for it, so we know that it's done in the correct manner of what your standards are.
So would it be more, so if that's the case, then is it saying that John would be going out more often than what we already do? Because Matt said it was, you know, contracting to have somebody do it more than just the once a day. Is that what we're thinking?
if you contract someone to do it, you can have them go off the ordinance, which is within a 12-hour period, or you can dictate every inch, every 2 inches, every 3
So if we
inches.
pay the
Yeah.
city, that's what we're paying the extra for, is to do that.
I'd have to clarify, if we paid the
It would be
city,
the same,
yeah.
what we do now.
it'd be
would
the
stay
same service.
A different company would give you
Yeah,
possibly more flexibility.
but it's gonna be more expensive the more you have them come out, like those quotes I got were based on what I gave them, which was the ordinance.
Okay.
So if you have them come out every 2 inches or so, it'll be more expensive.
Okay, so we'll keep it in discussion. Moving forward, the 2024 budget. Did everybody get a copy of the kind of handwritten one that yes, Matt, did you get one?
I didn't, I'm here.
Thanks.
Oh, no, thank you. So Nick got a little busy running an election and So we need to approve a 2024 budget today. Or we're gonna have to have a special meeting to do so. So talking to Nick a little bit yesterday. And Nikki. Basically what Nick says is half the time when it comes from to a budgetary standpoint for a year, they just look at the trends, they look at what we did last year, what we budgeted for last year, if there was anything that was outstanding, and would that continue again for the next year? According to Nick's calculations, if you go right down the 2024 line here, we will end up this year at about 140,000 in TIF capture. 46,000, again, that's a set number. All the way down to wages. Yeah, we anticipate that for 2024 that Becky's gonna work more than Margot did. Especially I would consider the first year. Ice Fest is really kind of an in and an out, and we really don't budget to make money. So if we kept it at the same budget, I mean, I think what is that? $2,600 we made.
$2,600, yes.
Your revenues and your. Yeah. $2,600 on Ice Fest. But we're not really budgeting to make any. It's a service, it's a big festival. Our auditing was up. This year is up. Because they're still playing catch up from closing year 2021 due to COVID. And obviously legal fees were up based on the
Is it the DDA?
yeah. Hi, Margaret. Based on legal fees for the county, sorry. Does anybody see anything that's out of whack on what I have?
I do.
Yeah.
It's not an additional 50,000, it's only additional 15, because the 32 to 45 is a $13,000 difference, and the 3 to 5 is a $2,000 difference. So you have a plus 50 at the bottom, just for the notes that you have. It's really only plus 15, if that's what.
Well, I looked at the current TIF that we've collected.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at, I thought your plus 50 was just taking these two items and.
Oh, no. That's just, I factored in what we've already received in TIF to our budget. And what we will receive more. Which should be an additional 50,000 to that ending fund balance.
Oh, your 50 plus is just for that.
Just for the ending fund
Okay, sorry.
balance, okay? Anyone else see anything that looks out of whack?
No, and I just assume, like, for example, there's costs that aren't listed, like liability insurance is not listed there. And I assume that happens every year, is it just hasn't been,
Posted
it
yet.
hasn't been paid yet, or it pays
Right.
in November or pays in December. So those places where there should be expenses just haven't come through yet, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And with a lot, and I talked to Nick. With a lot of this, sometimes it get posted to the wrong account. And then when he does the actual auditing, or we have the
Right.
actual accountants
Yep.
that just
It
does
just gets
everything, it just
adjusted,
gets
right.
moved around. So Nick would like me to get an approval on. As I wrote the 2024, obviously including all the other line items, but just some of the changes there to the 2024. So that he can get this mocked up, because he needs to give it to council on December 4th. For them to their first look over.
Is there any history to say that auditing shouldn't be increased? Because it was up almost $2,000 this year. Yeah, I just don't know what the past.
Oh, that was just because they were still closing 2021. and on to 2022 because of COVID.
Mhm.
That's, he said, there's no history to show that it should be any more than 2,000.
Okay.
And if we look back at probably 21, that there was,
It's been consistent. Good.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
great.
Get a motion from anyone or any other questions?
I'll motion to approve.
Second? Second? Any opposed? You need a roll call on,
Yeah. probably the
Budget?
best.
okay. Um. Nikki,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes,
Rachel,
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Mayor Matt?
Yes.
And Jody, yes.
sorry.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just wanted a question.
Yeah.
Is there any logic, like to removing red, white, and blue?
Oh, yes,
Or Brewfest,
Yes.
those things that, and it's not, like our system,
I agree.
it doesn't just delete them, it just removes them from the reporting because we're consistently not doing them and it just makes another line item.
And I actually did speak with Nick about that yesterday too, and I said, if we could really. And then I said, and then if we could, once a year, so that we could see
Get the expanded
the
version.
expanded version as well. Don't you think that, I think that would be good. Would you be so kind as to, oh, you have that
Yep.
copy? Okay, old business, Third Street Light. Rachel, if you'd be so kind, because you've done all the legwork on it.
I'm gonna try and make it as easy to read as possible. So, Third Street Lights reached out to a couple companies, because I think we want to move forward weekly lighting. We're all aware that that won't happen until the spring anyhow. So I did get some quotes on seasonal lighting options if the DDA decides to go that route. Faith Lawn Services, we did get in contact with them. I got a couple quotes from him to wrap the trunks of the trees. So the large trees would be really tightly wrapped. And then the smaller trees, he would go up some of the branches to make them look more full. The yearly cost is $4,700. That's if he were to put them up and take them down every year. And I'm gonna continue with that company just so it all makes sense. To wrap the trunks and the lights stay on the trees, the initial cost is $4,700 and then a set fee of $675 yearly unless there was a larger damage. After 6 years, that comes to about $9,000. Lights are a little more prone to damage, vandalism on the trunks, and maybe more maintenance, but he said that varies community to community, depending on traffic. To redo all the lights on the trees as they once were is an initial cost of $24,000 with a set fee of $675 yearly, pending there's no major damage. After 6 years, that total is about $28,000. He does service surrounding communities. I reached out to Boyne City, I reached out to Charlevoix. They're very happy with the services. They had no complaints at all. Other options was Furman Irrigation in Petoskey. I spoke to a gentleman there, Dave, to light every other tree in full as they were would be about $4,000, a yearly cost of $2,000. They are local. The city would own the lights. To remove and store them yearly would be about $900 short. After 6 years, that's about $14,000 for them to do so. And that's to put them up and take them down every year.
Is that also, does that mean we go out and buy lights? Is that
They
in
would-
addition? They would,
They supply them, yep. And
that's
then-
included in
yep,
this quote?
correct. Yep.
Okay,
City staff, Adam Roof Holiday, lighting yearly, approximately 7,000. I based that off Main Street, so that's a
Yeah.
very loose estimate. After 6 years, about 42,000. You need council approval and we'd have to purchase our own lights. So there are a lot of different factors that go into that. And then I have Wequitansing lighting, which I think we want to do no matter what,
Mhm.
which is DPW would build, Bear River install, and I used the spring estimates that we got, which is 100,000 per installation and 1,500 each to build. So,
No,
1,000.
oh, sorry, 1,000, sorry.
I was like, did I miss 100,000?
Could be done in phases. It supplies all year round light consistent with the rest of the city.
Well, I think one of the most important things, that the topic today was safety. Your comment in the last meeting about walking home from work and there's no lights. And when they were up there, they were barely, visible. I think we agree that we need to do something for this winter. I hope, I mean, at least my opinion is we need to do something for this winter to make sure that it's safe on Third Street. And looking forward to the spring additions of the lighting down as a permanent solution. I know you had real good feeling about Faith in talking to them.
I really liked Alex. Yeah, he seems easy to work with. I reached out to the other municipalities that work with him. Like I said, they don't have any complaints. They all spoke very highly of him. I guess if you're looking for a staff recommendation, it would be, per the motion last meeting, we're doing the week balancing lights, it seems no matter what. So for this winter, so there's something that's not dark, wrap the trunks.
That's what
And then
yeah.
go from there, whether you want to keep them or not, but at least for this winter.
I agree with that. I think that the price is good, and I mean, I think to keep it up for the winter, so at least there's light back there. For the businesses and for the safety of people walking, especially going into the winter with how dark it is. Yeah, I think that's
He was confident he could have them up before Thanksgiving, and that would be every tree, just to clarify.
yeah, no, I like that.
Wow.
But you don't need a lift to do it. That's why the
Correct.
price is
Correct.
the way it is.
No, I think.
Now, wait, these lights stay up?
No.
Now, you could do both. He could come back yearly and take them down, but that's more expensive. But you could decide that at a later date, but I think we just look for this winter right now and focus on that.
Yeah,
and get them up and then
I agree.
move forward. But yes, to have him come back every year and put them up and down is going to be quite costly. That wouldn't make a lot of sense,
Understood.
so.
And I think we want safety this winter. So would anybody like to make a motion on, I think, I would say Rachel's recommendation of the Faith Lawn Services since she spoke with.
I would motion for that.
Support.
Any opposed? Yes,
Opposed.
okay. Into public comment, well, we've kind of done the financial update already. We kind of skipped over that, so into public comments. And now about anything that was on the agenda that we've discussed or made motions about. Oh, yes, hi. State your name, please.
Lucas Vanderseen. Just as a reminder, I'm sure everybody knows that, but if the trees are wrapped in trunks, they will have to be removed. They can't just stay on there just
Yeah.
because they'll grow in.
Yes.
That's it.
And that's part of the maintenance fee for 675. They come out and they arrange them so they don't do that.
They adjust them when they do
Correct.
that, but then they can't just stay. That's,
Yeah.
but I figured everyone knew that.
And just a 2-second backstory, because I know a lot of people have to be working at 9. But I'm kind of a little disappointed in the communication and once Rachel got a hold of, help me, this was the first. Alex, thank you. A, he had changed his email address. And B, he had reached out to someone, not myself, or Margot or Rachel, numerous times. And so I'd like to apologize to the Third Street businesses that it took us this long to get to this point when it was really just a matter of misunderstandings and getting a hold of somebody from that business originally.
Yeah, the previous owner, was
Got it.
ill, terminally
Yeah.
ill, and Alex was kind of under him and like learned from him. And then when Alex took over, the company name changed, and it did have some confusion there. Other municipalities did hint at that, but as far as I'm aware, everyone's been happy so far with the services.
Okay. Anybody else? Motion to adjourn? Oh,
I'm just delighted that you're gonna put the lights back on.
I'm delighted, you're delighted.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel like Third Street has been like the bastard child for so long because Main Street is the one that gets all the big lights and the Christmas lights and all that stuff. And Third Street is part of the central business district as well as Bay. And there really needs to be consistent lighting. And you know, when you go to Charlevoix or something like that, it's a beautiful look. So I'm delighted they're gonna go back up.
Thanks, Margaret. I appreciate that. We appreciate that for certain. Excellent. Motion to adjourn? Yeah, anyone opposed?